Hi friends, I'm wondering if you can guess if it's daytime or nighttime. I'm going to move so you can peek out the window. Do you see? It's pretty dark outside, so it's already nighttime. But it gives me a chance to be in my room by myself so I can make a video for you. Let's start with singing our hello song. Hello everybody, how do you do? How do you do? How do you do? Hello everybody, how do you do? God loves you today. I brought some tools and things that a firefighter might use. I'm wondering if you know what any of these things are. All right, here's an important one. What do you think this could be? If you thought it was a fire coat, you are right. So firefighters wear special jackets or coats that keep them safe from fire. And their coats sometimes has their name on it, or sometimes their coat will have these reflective pieces. So if it's dark inside and they have to go in a building where there's fire, you can kind of see the firefighters because their jacket would glow in the dark. Now this jacket is made for kids to wear, so it's a little smaller than a real fire jacket, and it's a lot lighter. Firefighters have very heavy coats, and they have lots of things in their pockets. Here's something they might have in their pocket. They might have in their pocket, what do you think these could be? A pair of gloves. So they want to keep their hands safe from fire, and so they wear special gloves that protect their hands. So they might have these in their pocket. So if they are rushing to a fire, they have all the equipment that they need. They might also have this in their pocket, or it could be clipped onto their coat. Now this is a toy, but this is a walkie-talkie. And so a firefighter can push a button and talk to maybe the fire chief. So the fire chief might stay outside and the firefighter might go inside, and they can talk to each other with this walkie-talkie. Now, what would a firefighter wear on his head to keep his head protected? Did you guess fire hat? Now look at this fire hat. Do you see this long part in the back? If a firefighter is spraying a fire hose and the water is going on his head, it just will slip right down. Instead of getting on his neck and into his coat, this little back part of his fire hat has the water running right off to the ground. Now, a firefighter also has a very hard hat because if something heavy falls on his head, he wants to protect his head. Firefighters also wear special boots, and in the toes of their boots, there's something very hard, some metal that keeps their toes protected. So if they're in a building and things are falling, they can keep their bodies safe. Now, a firefighter might use this, a fire hose. Do you think this is a real fire hose? This is just a play hose. But a firefighter might hook the hose right up to a fire hydrant that has water coming from the ground, or it might be hooked up to a fire truck. So there is a truck called the pumper truck, and that truck has water in the truck, and they can hook their hoses right up to the truck. Now, another way to put out fires would be a fire extinguisher. I wonder if you have one of these in your house. Now, this doesn't have water inside. It has some foam inside. When a firefighter presses it, foam shoots out and puts the fire out. I have one of these in my kitchen, a real one. This is a toy one. The one in my kitchen I have under my sink because if I ever have a fire in the kitchen and I want to put it out as fast as I can, I get that fire extinguisher. If I don't have time and I want to get out of the house, I would call the fire department and let them handle the fire. Now here's another thing a firefighter might carry. An axe. Sometimes if a firefighter is going into a house and the door is closed and they can't open it, they will use their axe to cut a hole in the door because they want to get inside as fast as they can. Or if there's a lot of smoke inside, they might use this axe to chop open a window so all the smoke will go out. So firefighters use tools like this not to hurt anybody. They're trying to protect people and they're trying to save the buildings that are on fire. Now I brought a toy, a little paper that has a little phone on it and some numbers. Do you know what number to call if you need a firefighter? 911. If you need a firefighter for an emergency, you dial 911. Now, an emergency is where someone is badly hurt and you need the paramedics, or there's a fire and you need the firefighters. And so we have to save 911 for very important calls. We want the firefighters and the police officers and the ambulances to come only when we need them. If I needed maybe some groceries and I was hungry, would I call the firefighters to say, it's an emergency, I'm hungry? I wouldn't call the firefighters for that. But if someone was hurt or if there was a fire at my house, I for sure would call 911 to get the firefighters to come over. So I have a book, and I read a book about Stanley the farmer, and this book is called Stanley's Fire Engine, and I love Stanley. I think I figured out that he's a guinea pig. I've read some other Stanley books, and I thought, he looks more like a guinea pig than a hamster. I don't know what you think about that. So Stanley's Fire Engine, and the person that wrote it, his name is Willem B. Ooh, it says his name on both pages. Oh, and here he is. It looks like he has a fire extinguisher and a fire hat. His fire hat has a letter on it. Do you see which letter? S. Do you think the S is for Stanley? I bet it is. Oh boy. Look at this. Lots of pictures of equipment. I wonder if he's going to use all of these things in the book. Stanley's Fire Engine. Oh, and even his fire engine has the letter S. Wow. Maybe he's the only firefighter at his station. It's going to be another busy day at Stanley's fire station. Oh, here we go. Another S. This one says fire station, and the garage door says keep clear. They don't want anyone to park their car in front of the garage. If the firefighters need to get out, they have to go quickly. Stanley and Peggy keep Stanley's fire engine in tip-top condition. It needs to be ready for anything. They have to make sure their fire engine has gas, that all the tools are working. They want their fire engine to stay clean. Stanley's fire engine has very long ladders that can reach very high places. Wow. Did you see how I had to turn the book from this way to this way? They have to reach the tops of trees for whenever kites and teddies and little woos get stuck up there. Now, I don't think a firefighter should come to get a kite out of the tree, but if there's a little child stuck in a tree, for sure we want to call the firefighters. Stanley's fire engine also has very long hoses. Does it look like Peggy has control of the hoses? I don't think so. The hoses are perfect for extinguishing Charlie's barbecue. Oh boy, he was using his grill and the grill caught on fire. He wasn't careful enough. He needed to call firefighters. Or maybe they'll use their hose to cool down anyone on the sunniest of days. Should we call a firefighter to fill our swimming pool? I don't think so. But sometimes if firefighters see kids outside, they might open the hydrant and let some of the water come out. Clang, clang, clang goes the bell, which means get out of the way. We're going to the fireworks. Stanley and Peggy stand by in case of accidents. But Seamus and Hattie know what they are doing. So everything goes off with a bang, a whiz, a swoosh, and a kaboom. Well, that was a busy day. Time for supper, time for a bath, and time for bed. Good night, Stanley. Now, firefighters will sleep at the fire station. So sometimes firefighters have to work for the whole day and the whole night. And if they're sleeping at the station and someone needs an emergency call or they need to handle an emergency call, the firefighters have to be ready to go if it's daytime or if it's nighttime. So they want to make sure that they're ready. So they sleep at the station. If all the firefighters were at home and there was an emergency at night, it would take too long for all the firefighters to get to the station and get all their gear. So they sleep overnight. So the firefighter has his own bed or her own bed at the fire station. That's pretty cool, don't you think? I have a little firefighter game for us to try. And it's a game where we have to do a little bit of patterning. So a pattern is when we have something that repeats itself over and over and over again. So look at this. I have some pictures of fire symbols. It looks like fire hydrants, fire. Ooh, here's an axe, a fire hydrant. Ooh, a fire extinguisher. Ooh, this says fire alarm. Ooh, here's a Dalmatian dog. All right, I'm going to get my patterning pictures and you can help me figure out which comes next. All right, so let's see what we have first. We have fire hydrant, fire, hydrant, fire, hydrant, fire, and hydrant. Ooh, if you said hydrant, you were right. Let me read that pattern again. Hydrant, fire, hydrant, fire, hydrant, fire, hydrant. Okay, here's a trickier one because this one has 3 pictures. Axe, hydrant, fire extinguisher. Axe, hydrant, fire extinguisher. Do you think you know what's next? So it looks like after axe comes hydrant. After extinguisher comes axe. Extinguisher, axe, extinguisher, axe. Ooh, that was tricky. Let's read that pattern again. Axe, hydrant, extinguisher. Axe, hydrant, extinguisher. Axe. Ooh, if I kept going, I'd say hydrant, extinguisher. Okay, here's another pattern. Alarm, fire, fire. Alarm, fire, fire. Okay, so if I have 1 alarm, I have 2 fires. 1 alarm, 2 fires. Do you think it's going to be fire or alarm? I'm going to put alarm there and let's see if that's the right pattern. Alarm, fire, fire. Alarm, fire, fire. Alarm. Ooh, that was it. Okay, my last one. Dog, dog, hydrant. Dog, dog. Ooh, that was pretty easy. Hydrant. Let's try it again. Dog, dog, hydrant. Dog, dog, hydrant. You got it. Good job with patterning. That's a little bit of math. Math is when we look at patterns, and math is also when we look at numbers. So you are pretty smart if you know how to do a little bit of patterning. Now, my last story that I want to show you is a story from my Bible storybook. Now, this book has all the stories from when Jesus was on the earth. So these are from the New Testament. And the story I want to read is called The Man Who Said Thank You. All right, here's some men. It looks like they could use paramedics, don't you think? Now, when Jesus was walking on the earth, do you think there were ambulances and fire stations? There were not. So if people were sick, they'd have to go to maybe a man who knew about medicines. But these men are really sick. They can't stay by their families, so they're out here kind of in the middle of nowhere. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Ooh, let's see if I got that right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, here's one here. 10. 10 men were very sick. They were so sick that the doctor couldn't make them better. They were so sick, they couldn't stay with their mommies or daddies. They couldn't stay with their boys and their girls. They had to stay outside all by themselves. Here's the city, and the city is so far away from where they are. Do you see all the bandages? They're all wrapped up. They have owies everywhere. All of them wanted to get well so they could go home again. One day, the 10 sick men saw lots of people coming up the road. Oh, if we're reading a Bible story and you see this crowd of people, remember with